Here's a fun exercise for fans of all 32 NFL teams. What was each franchise's best draft class of all time? From selecting future Hall of Famers to building the core of a championship team, there are many ways to win the draft. There will be obvious choices for some teams, but prepare yourself for a few surprises too. Stay tuned to find out who we crown as your team's best draft class of all time.
With the fourth choice in the first round, the Baltimore Ravens select John Ogden.
With the 25th selection in the first round, the Baltimore Ravens have selected Ray Lewis.
To start, let's look at Baltimore. The Ravens' very first draft class turned out to be its best. With the fourth pick, Baltimore chose tackle Jonathan Ogden, who made the Pro Bowl in 11 out of 12 seasons. Ogden was an anchor for the Ravens during their 2000 Super Bowl run, alongside fellow Hall of Famer Ray Lewis. The 26th overall pick was the Super Bowl 35 MVP and gave Baltimore a second championship in 2012.
Ray Lewis is the most valuable player.
We're the best ever. Best ever right now.
The two-time Defensive Player of the Year holds the NFL record with 2,059 career tackles. In the fifth round, the Ravens selected Jermaine Lewis, a key piece of the 2000 championship team. Lewis put together 2 Pro Bowl seasons as a returner, including a first-team All-Pro nod in 1998. How about 2 Hall of Famers in back-to-back picks? In 1965, Chicago selected linebacker Dick Butkus, 3rd overall, and then running back Gale Sayers right after. While the Bears legends didn't see much success in wins, they each posted 5 first-team All-Pro seasons. Sayers even added an Offensive Rookie of the Year trophy to his resume, scoring a league-high 22 touchdowns.
As the saying goes, you ain't seen nothing yet. Watch him now. Sayers, NFL Rookie of the Year. A one-man Gale. Dashing 85 dazzling yards on the longest punt return of the season. Here he is, galloping Gale, carrying the mail. This is his 6th touchdown of the game.
Later in the draft, Chicago chose receiver Dick Gordon in round 7. Gordon, a 2-time Pro Bowler, led the league in receptions and touchdowns in 1970. The Bears also scored a big haul in 1983, selecting Hall of Famers Jimbo Covert and Richard Dent. They also found Pro Bowlers Dave Duerson and Mark Bortz, plus longtime starters Willie Gault and Mike Richardson. All were members of the 1985 Super Bowl team. This was the 1-2 punch that was supposed to carry the Chargers for a decade. In 2001, 5th overall pick LaDainian Tomlinson and 32nd overall pick Drew Brees headed to sunny SoCal. There, they won an AFC West title in 2004 and powered the Chargers to back-to-back seasons with a top 10 scoring offense.
Brees fires down the sideline. Gates has got he's open.
He's going to go.
At the 40, at the 30, at the 20, at the 10, at the 5. Touchdown, Chargers. Chargers are AFC West champions. How are you liking them now?
But the marriage wouldn't last as Brees split for New Orleans in 2006. There, he became the Drew Brees we all know and love, throwing for over 80,000 yards and 571 TDs. LT stayed in San Diego for nearly 10 years, finishing his career with the 3rd most touchdowns in league history. He scored 31 alone in his 2006 MVP campaign, still a single-season record. The 1957 Eagles draft class featured 2 critical members of their 1960 NFL championship team and an all-time great quarterback. 3rd-round pick Tommy McDonald led the way in that title game with 90 receiving yards and a TD.
Retzlaff at tight left end. Van Brocklin going for a long one. Throwing into McDonald. He's got him open at the 7-yard line. McDonald, touchdown.
McDonald was a 6-time Pro Bowler who posted league highs in receiving yards and TDs in 1961. He finished his Hall of Fame career with 85 touchdowns. 2nd-rounder Billy Ray Barnes made 3 Pro Bowl appearances in his 9 years in the league. Barnes posted over 1,000 yards from scrimmage in 1959, adding 9 touchdowns. 4th-round quarterback Sonny Jurgensen spent 7 years in Philly, leading the league in passing yards twice. The Hall of Famer had an All-Pro season in 1961 before heading to Washington, where he solidified himself as one of the best QBs of his era. Before the Seahawks won their first Super Bowl in 2013, they needed to establish their core. Perhaps no draft class was as important as 2012, when Seattle selected Bruce Irvin, Bobby Wagner, and Russell Wilson in the first 3 rounds.
12s, they're bringing the trophy home. Your Seahawks, Super Bowl 48 champions.
Irvin, the 15th overall pick, compiled nearly half of his career sacks during his 6 seasons with the team. The second round is where Seattle found Wagner. The 6-time first-team All-Pro and 9-time Pro Bowler has been as good as it gets, and he'll keep climbing the all-time tackles list, where he currently sits 7th in NFL history. However, Seattle's key selection in that draft was Wilson. The third-round pick worked wonders in the Emerald City, making 9 Pro Bowls in his first 10 seasons. He's among the top 20 in all-time passing yards and touchdowns.
It is caught for a touchdown!
Big-time shout-out to Seattle's 2010 class, too. First-rounders Russell Okung and Earl Thomas were Pro Bowlers with the Seahawks, as was second-round pick Golden Tate. The Seahawks also found a 5th-round gem in Cam Chancellor, the backbone of the Legion of Boom. Al Davis and the Raiders exited the 1968 draft with an impressive haul, starting with second-round pick Ken Stabler. The Hall of Fame quarterback is arguably the greatest QB in franchise history, winning NFL MVP in 1974, then a Super Bowl in 1976.
Here he is, fading, looking. He's under the gun. He's caught, he throws. It is!
He caught it!
Unbelievable! You'll never see a better game than this one, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sure you'll agree.
Third-round pick and fellow Hall of Famer Art Shell kept Stabler's pocket clean on his way to 8 Pro Bowl appearances. Shell also won another Super Bowl with the Raiders in 1980. Taken in the 7th round, safety George Atkinson immediately made an impact as the 1968 AFL Defensive Rookie of the Year. Running back Marv Hubbard was selected in the 11th round. He registered 3 straight Pro Bowl seasons in the early 70s. In the 2001 draft, the Panthers helped build the foundation that led to an NFC title in 2003.
The improbable season for the Carolina Panthers continues. Yes, Charlotte, there is a Super Bowl, and we're in it.
11th overall pick Dan Morgan's career was cut short due to an injury, but he still made a huge impact in 7 years with Carolina. Second-round defensive tackle Chris Jenkins was a 4-time Pro Bowler and helped form one of football's most dominant D-lines in the early 2000s. But Carolina's most valuable pick in the draft was third-round wideout Steve Smith. He registered 7 1,000-yard seasons in 13 years with the Panthers. In 2005, Smith was named Comeback Player of the Year, winning the receiving Triple Crown along the way. He retired 7th all-time in career receiving yards. The Colts of the 60s wouldn't have been the same without their 1963 draft class. With the 5th overall pick, they chose tackle Bob Vogel, a 5-time Pro Bowler who helped lead the Colts to their first Super Bowl win in 1970. Second-round pick tight end John Mackey is considered one of the best ever at his position. The Hall of Famer ignited the Colts offense with this 75-yard TD in Super Bowl V.
John goes back to throw again. Sets up, fires out left side. Taken by John! The fingertips of the intended receiver bounced into the hands of John Mackey, and he goes in for the touchdown.
Then came safety Jerry Logan in the 4th round. The 3-time Pro Bowler had a key interception in that Super Bowl victory. 7th-round flanker Willie Richardson was a 2-time Pro Bowler who helped the team reach Super Bowl III in a dominant 1968 campaign. We should also mention a couple of blue-chip players from Indy's 2018 class. Perennial Pro Bowler Quentin Nelson has become one of the best guards in the game, while 2018 Defensive Rookie of the Year Shaquille Leonard amassed 3 first-team All-Pro nods. Widely considered the best of all time, Pittsburgh's 74 draft class featured 4 future Hall of Famers who helped the Steelers win 4 Super Bowls. Their first-round pick was wide receiver Lynn Swann. The 3-time Pro Bowler was known for his acrobatic catches and coming up big when it mattered most. Swann won MVP of Super Bowl X thanks to this deep TD grab.
Here's Bradshaw. Bothered from behind. Lynn Swann is open. Got it. Steeler touchdown.
Second-rounder Jack Lambert quickly established himself as one of the best linebackers in the game, winning Defensive Rookie of the Year and later the Defensive Player of the Year, 1976. Round 4 brought the ultra-explosive John Stallworth, who earned 3 Pro Bowl nods and was a 1979 first-team All-Pro. Like Swann, he made a habit of clutch playoff catches.
Bradshaw pumping, firing downfield. There goes Stallworth. He pulls it in at the 30, the 20, the 10, the 5, and it's a touchdown for Pittsburgh on the ball to Stallworth.
Fifth-round center Mike Webster is arguably the greatest at his position. He compiled 9 Pro Bowl selections and 5 first-team All-Pro nods, and if that wasn't enough, the Steelers even signed undrafted safety Donnie Shell, who played 14 years in Pittsburgh before landing in Canton. In the 1985 draft, Buffalo selected 2 key players who helped them go on one of the most impressive 4-year runs in league history. First overall pick Bruce Smith and 4th-rounder Andre Reed were franchise cornerstones for Buffalo in the 80s and 90s, and although they never brought a Super Bowl home to Orchard Park, they still dominated the AFC for nearly a decade.
He's getting heat, that's Bruce Smith. That's Bruce Smith, the first player taken in the draft. Like to throw, end zone, touchdown!
Smith makes a strong case for the best defensive player to ever lace him up. His 200 career sacks are the most all-time, and just listen to his list of accolades: 11 Pro Bowls, 8 first-team All-Pro selections, and 2 Defensive Player of the Year awards. Reed, on the other hand, is a 7-time Pro Bowler who ranks in the top 20 all-time for receiving yards and TDs. As Charles Dickens said, it was the best of times, it was the worst of times. From 1969 to 1976, the Vikings made 4 Super Bowl appearances, but had 0 Lombardis to show for it. However, they wouldn't have been able to jumpstart this run without their 1967 draft class. Gene Washington, the 8th overall pick, had back-to-back Pro Bowl seasons in 1969 and 1970. 7 picks later, Minnesota selected one of its all-time greats.
Behind the line by Alan Page, and did he get off the ball fast that time? He's about as quick off the ball as any lineman in pro football.
Defensive tackle Alan Page led the Vikings to all 4 Super Bowls and became the first defensive player to ever be named MVP. The Hall of Famer is regarded as one of the best defensive tackles in league history. 2nd-round pick Bob Grimm earned a Pro Bowl nod in 1971, while 7th-rounder Bobby Bryant, a 2-time Pro Bowl corner, rounded out the class. 2 words: Matty Ice. The greatest passer in Falcons history came via the 3rd overall pick in the 2008 draft. As the franchise leader in QB wins, passing yards, and TDs, Matt Ryan guided Atlanta to 6 playoff appearances, including a trip to Super Bowl 51.
Dan Quinn in year 2 has taken Atlanta to the Super Bowl.
Congratulations.
You are the MVP for sure.
That season, Ryan became the only Falcon to ever win MVP. 5 more key players were selected in 2008 to form the foundation of this team for years to come. 21st overall pick Sam Baker played 6 seasons at left tackle. 2nd-rounder Curtis Lofton was a 4-year starter at linebacker. Receiver Harry Douglas was a 3rd-round selection who went for over 1,000 yards in 2013. Fellow 3rd-rounder Thomas Deku was a Pro Bowl safety, and 5th-rounder Croy Bierman played 8 seasons as an edge rusher. Don't sleep on the Falcons' 2001 draft class either. 1st overall selection Michael Vick set a then record for quarterback rushing yards in 2006. Tight end Algie Crumpler was a 4th-rounder who also registered 4 Pro Bowl appearances. But let's go back for a little history lesson now on the 1945 Rams draft class, because it was truly elite. Back when they were in Cleveland, the team took Elroy Crazy Legs Hirsch with the 5th overall pick. He'd go on to a legendary career.
First of all, his nickname, Crazy Legs, it's pretty easy to see why he's called that. They just go straight to the side.
Wow.
I've never seen anybody run like that.
The Hall of Famer caught 66 balls for nearly 1,500 yards and 17 touchdowns in 1951, leading the Rams to an NFL championship win. 9th-round tackle Dick Huffman was a first-team All-Pro or Pro Bowler in every season he played. 11th-round end Tom Fears led the NFL in receptions every year from 1948 to 1950. The Hall of Famer caught the game-winning 73-yard touchdown in that 51 title game.
Norm Van Brocklin drops back, throws an arching pass upfield. Rangy Tom Fears gathers it in on the dead run and races all the way to score for Los Angeles.
Fullback Dick Horner was picked all the way in the 17th round. He earned a Pro Bowl trip in 1950 and played a big part in the team's success during that time. The 1962 Rams also drafted some serious gems with back-to-back picks at number 2 and 3 overall. LA chose future MVP quarterback Roman Gabriel and Hall of Fame defensive lineman Merlin Olsen. An eventual Pro Bowl tackle Joe Carollo rounded out the class at 16th overall. This 2023 Texan class is still fresh, but they've already made such a big impact that it was too hard not to include them. Second overall pick, C.J. Stroud, posted one of the best rookie quarterback seasons ever, throwing for over 4,000 yards and 23 touchdowns. The 2023 Offensive Rookie of the Year led Houston to a division title and owns the single-game rookie passing record with 470 yards.
Stroud to the end zone, touchdown! Tank Dell! C.J. Stroud leads a magical drive. It is a new NFL rookie record for C.J. Stroud. I mean, wow.
The Texans traded up to third overall to select fellow Pro Bowler and Defensive Rookie of the Year Will Anderson Jr. It marked the fourth time since 1967 that a team has swept the awards. In the third round, Houston gave Stroud the explosive Tank Dell, who compiled over 700 receiving yards and 7 touchdowns in just 11 games before suffering a season-ending injury. There's also Houston's 2006 class that helped build the foundation for sustained success. It included Mario Williams at first overall, star linebacker and current head coach DeMeco Ryans in the second round, and two-time Pro Bowl tight end Owen Daniels in the fourth. The Browns' 1957 draft class earns a spot on our list thanks to the great Jim Brown.
Jim Brown fights left tackle, gets a hole, he's to midfield, Jim to the 40, Jim Brown to the 30, Jim Brown is going to go in for another touchdown!
The sixth overall selection became the first rookie ever to win MVP and bookended his career with a third MVP season as well. The Hall of Famer powered Cleveland to an NFL championship in 1964 and set the all-time rushing record, which stood for almost 2 decades. But the Browns didn't stop there. Second-round quarterback Milt Plum posted 2 Pro Bowl seasons, while seventh-rounder Gene Hickerson had a Hall of Fame career at guard. Cleveland even selected Hall of Fame defensive tackle Henry Jordan, who after 2 seasons with the Browns parted for Green Bay, where he compiled 5 first-team All-Pro seasons, winning 5 NFL championships and 2 Super Bowls. The Browns again found 2 Hall of Famers in the same class in 1964. Receiver Paul Warfield was taken 11th overall. Then Cleveland found running back Leroy Kelly in round 8. The Patriots have had some solid drafts, no doubt. We could have gone with the 1995 class here, Hall of Famers Ty Law and Curtis Martin, as well as 3-time Super Bowl champ Ted Johnson. But none of those guys are the GOAT. Is there really any better draft class than Tom Brady's? You know the story. Selected 199th overall in the 6th round of the 2000 draft, Tom Brady came into the NFL with a chip on his shoulder and a confidence unlike any other.
I said, I know who you are. You're our 6th-round draft choice. And he said, that's right, and I'm the best decision this organization has ever made.
Brady delivered on that promise, guiding New England to 6 Super Bowl titles. The 15-time Pro Bowler and 3-time NFL MVP owns the NFL records for career passing yards and touchdowns, records that won't be broken anytime soon. The Broncos' famed Orange Crush defense would not exist without their 1975 draft class. This crew was responsible for the franchise's first ever Super Bowl appearance in 1977.
The Broncos on the field. It is over. The miracle has happened. The Broncos are going to the Super Bowl.
17th overall pick Lewis Wright played his entire career in Denver, earning 2 first-team All-Pro appearances at cornerback. 4th-round receiver Rick Upchurch added some firepower to this class, registering 3 All-Pro seasons as a kick returner. Reuben Carter, a 5th-round nose tackle, played his entire career in Denver. And late in the 8th, the Broncos found DB Steve Foley, who also was a Bronco for life. In 1967, the Houston Oilers nailed their first pick and found some accompanying late-round gems. Linebacker George Webster was taken 5th overall and made an immediate impact, winning AFL Defensive Rookie of the Year. He was a 3-time All-Pro over his 10-year career. Houston nabbed future Pro Bowlers Zeke Moore in the 5th round and running back Woody Campbell in the 10th, but the jewel of the draft class was Hall of Fame safety Ken Houston.
He also has 9.5 speed, and against the Bills returned an interception all the way for the 5th time in his brief career.
The 9th-round pick, was excellent in his 6 seasons with the Oilers. He went on to build on that success with Washington for another 8 years. Don't forget the great 2016 class as well. It will be remembered for 2nd-rounder Derrick Henry, but they also got 2-time All-Pro tackle Jack Conklin in the 1st. Not to mention stud safety Kevin Byard in round 3, who notched a couple All-Pro seasons in Tennessee himself. The 2006 Saints draft class was as deep as it gets, and it helped build the foundation for the Sean Payton-Drew Brees era. This group starts at pick number 2 with Reggie Bush, who registered over 2,300 yards from scrimmage in his first 2 seasons. Safety Roman Harper came in the 2nd round. The 2-time Pro Bowler helped deliver New Orleans' first Super Bowl win in 2009.
Get ready to party with the Lombardi, New Orleans!
It's already started, I promise you, my friend.
4th-round guard Jari Evans made 6 straight Pro Bowls and should be in Canton sometime in the near future. Linebacker Rob Ninkovich was selected in the 5th round. Although he played only 1 season in the Big Easy, he became a key player for the Patriots during 2 Super Bowl runs. The Saints snagged 2 in the 7th round, offensive lineman Zach Strief and receiver Marcus Colston, the franchise's all-time leader in receptions, yards, and touchdowns. The Saints swept the Rookie of the Year awards in 2017 thanks to 1st-rounder Marshawn Lattimore and 3rd-rounder Alvin Kamara. All-Pro tackle Ryan Ramczyk, do-it-all linebacker Alex Anzalone, and sackmaster Trey Hendrickson round out an impressive draft class. The great draft class of 1981 helped Washington win 3 Lombardi trophies in a 10-year span.
The Washington Redskins have an NFL championship. The Washington Redskins, for the 2nd time in 5 years, are National Football League champions. Super Bowl 26 is over. What a great season.
Selected 20th overall, Pro Bowl offensive lineman Mark May was part of 2 Super Bowl runs. Future Hall of Famer Russ Grimm came in the 3rd round. He and the rest of the Hogs led the way for Joe Gibbs' ground game. Grimm earned 3 consecutive first-team All-Pros and 4 straight Pro Bowl appearances. Dexter Manley, a 5th-round pick, compiled over 100 career sacks at defensive end. The 1986 first-team All-Pro also won 2 Super Bowls. Receiver Charlie Brown amassed 2 Pro Bowl seasons as an 8th-round pick, including a 1,200-yard campaign in 1983. 9th-round defensive tackle Darryl Grant sealed a Super Bowl berth with a pick-6 in the 1982 NFC title game, and 12th-round tight end Clint Didier also earned 2 rings. Washington welcomed 3rd overall pick Charlie Taylor back in 1964. He was the Rookie of the Year and finished his career with 8 Pro Bowl trips and a gold jacket. 2nd-round safety Paul Krause was an All-Pro in his first 2 years in Washington before solidifying his legacy in Minnesota. 5-time Pro Bowl center Len Haas rounded out the class at 115th overall. The 1958 Packers draft class came complete with 3 Hall of Famers and a bunch of championships. 3rd overall pick Dan Curry captured 2 NFL titles, making All-Pro in 1962. In round 2, Green Bay grabbed fullback Jim Taylor. The 1962 MVP set a single-season record for rushing touchdowns that stood for 20 years.
Gives to Jimmy Taylor, finds an opening and goes for the score.
Taylor won 4 NFL championships and a Super Bowl with the Packers. 3rd-round linebacker Ray Nitschke also owns plenty of hardware. The Hall of Famer was an integral part of Green Bay's defense during their 60s dynasty. Standout guard Jerry Kramer was a 4th-round selection. He earned a well-deserved spot in Canton after 5 All-Pro seasons, 5 NFL championships, and 2 Super Bowls during his 11-year career. Improving the defense was the theme of the Giants' 1993 draft. Luckily, they took future Hall of Fame defensive end Michael Strahan in the 2nd round. In 2001, he recorded 22.5 sacks, setting a single-season record. Strahan was named All-Pro 4 times. However, most New Yorkers will remember him for his performance in Super Bowl 42 when the G-Men took down the mighty Patriots in dramatic fashion.
3rd down and 7. Good jump off the line by Strahan, who gets the sack.
Not to be overlooked in this draft class is linebacker Jesse Armstead. The 8th-round pick defied the odds, playing 11 seasons in the league. Armstead recorded 971 career tackles and earned 5 Pro Bowl trips. Miami's 1968 draft class was essential in helping the Dolphins win back-to-back Lombardis in the early 70s. Their 1st-round selection, Hall of Fame fullback Larry Zonka, MVP of Super Bowl 8.
Zonka, touchdown. Zonka, touchdown.
There weren't many better than Zonka in that era as he powered his way to 5 Pro Bowl selections. Miami found Zonka's backfield mate in the 5th round. Jim Kitt compiled 4 consecutive years of 1,000-plus scrimmage yards. In between the two backs, Miami picked safety Dick Anderson in the 3rd round. The 2-time All-Pro won both the Defensive Rookie of the Year and Defensive Player of the Year awards in his 10 seasons. Of course, 1983 brought Miami Dan Marino and his favorite target, Mark Clayton. The duo shattered records together during the '84 season, with Marino setting the mark for passing yards and TDs, while Clayton set the record for single-season receiving touchdowns. The Finns also found future All-Pro punter Reggie Roby in the 6th round. Kansas City changed the fate of their franchise in 2017 by drafting quarterback Patrick Mahomes.
That's the quarterback of the future that they're putting the eggs in the Mahomes basket.
The 28-year-old already has 2 league MVPs, 3 Super Bowl rings, and 3 Super Bowl MVPs under his belt. The pace at which Mahomes is cementing his greatness is unprecedented. As the fastest player to reach 25,000 passing yards and 200 TDs, his story is far from finished. General manager Brett Veach found another gem in running back Kareem Hunt in the 3rd round. He made an immediate impact, winning the NFL rushing title as a rookie. Hunt has recorded 3 seasons of over 1,000 scrimmage yards and has become one of the better multifaceted backs in the league. Mahomes is so good that we had to make the 1963 Chiefs draft class an honorable mention, despite having 2 Hall of Famers in it. Defensive tackle Buck Buchanan and linebacker Bobby Bell own those gold jackets. Guard Ed Buddy and punter Jerry Wilson were Pro Bowlers who helped the Chiefs win Super Bowl IV, too. Let's stay in 1963 for an elite Cardinals draft class. This group was headlined by a guy who helped put the tight end position on the map.
Trailing the Giants 7-3 at the start of the second half, Smith's 69-yard TD gave St. Louis a lead they never relinquished.
Hall of Famer Jackie Smith was a pioneer at the position and made 5 straight Pro Bowls from 1966 to 1970. He finished his career with nearly 8,000 receiving yards and 40 TDs. You know you've done it right when you come away with 6 Pro Bowlers in a single class. First rounders Don Brum and Jerry Stovall contributed to a talented Cardinals defense. Second rounder Bob Reynolds was an 8-year starter at left tackle and made 3 Pro Bowls. Rounding out the group are Pro Bowlers Chuck Walker and Larry Stallings, who despite being late round picks, made the most of their NFL careers, both playing 10-plus seasons. We'll briefly mention a great 2004 class marked by the arrival of Larry Legend. Fitzgerald is 2nd all-time in receiving yards and 6th in touchdowns. Arizona also selected Carlos Dansby and 3-time Pro Bowl D lineman Darnell Dockett. 2001 brought a pair of college teammates to Cincinnati in receivers Chad Johnson and TJ Houshmandzadeh. The Oregon State duo was selected in the 2nd and 7th rounds, respectively, helping supercharge the Bengals offense.
Drops and throws, far sideline.
Here's another long ball. Chad Johnson, the fastest Bengal, has it. He's going in. And the most spectacular pass play of this season. Anywhere. 82 yards.
Johnson finished his career with 2 All-Pro selections and 6 Pro Bowl nods. In 2006, he led the league in receiving yards. The very next year, Houshmandzadeh held a share of the receptions crown with 112, earning his lone Pro Bowl trip. At the beginning of that draft, Cincinnati took defensive end Justin Smith with the 4th overall pick. He was always consistent, but found more success in San Francisco, where he made 5 Pro Bowls. Can't forget about 4th rounder Rudy Johnson either. The 2004 Pro Bowler had 3 straight seasons with over 1,300 rushing yards and 12 touchdowns. There were studs throughout the Jets' 1977 draft class, but none bigger than Hall of Fame D lineman Joe Klecko. The 4-time Pro Bowler was a stalwart on New York's defensive line for 11 seasons. He registered an unofficial 20.5 sacks in 1981.
If we need a big player or something, I want to be the one that people come to for it because, I like that kind of situation. I don't like to depend on other people to get things done for me. I want to do them myself.
First-round tackle Marvin Powell coasted to 3 All-Pro campaigns in 9 years with the Jets. Second-round receiver Wesley Walker became one of the best Jets in history. He sits second on the franchise's all-time list in receiving yards and touchdowns. Walker led the NFL in receiving yards in just his second season. In 2000, the Jets had an unfathomable 4 picks in the first round. Defensive ends Sean Ellis and John Abraham went 12th and 13th overall. Quarterback Chad Pennington was picked at 18, and tight end Anthony Becht at 27. Trusty receiver Lavernius Coles rounded out the class as a third-round selection. New York built its modern core with 3 first-rounders in 2022. All-Pro corner Sauce Gardner went 4th overall. New York spent a pick on Garrett Wilson at 10, and edge rusher Jermaine Johnson at pick 26. The ultra-explosive Breece Hall wasn't too far behind at 36th overall either. This foursome looks to be on pace for great things. The 49ers' 86 class was chock full of studs and role players who helped stack the trophy case in San Francisco. The big dog of the group was 4th-round edge rusher Charles Haley, with 100.5 career sacks and 5 Super Bowls between his time in San Francisco and Dallas. It's easy to see why he's a Hall of Famer. 2-time Pro Bowler John Taylor won a trifecta of Super Bowls with the 49ers. No moment in the third-round receiver's career bigger than this one.
He's in motion. Montana.
You won't find a bunch of big names here, but all these guys were major contributors to the 49ers dynasty. Bill Walsh found D-end Larry Roberts in the second round, fullback Tom Rathman in the third. Third-round corner Tim McKyer collected 3 Lombardis. The trenches were solidified with 4th-round offensive tackle Steve Wallace and defensive end Kevin Fagan. Meanwhile, 6th-round DB Don Griffin earned 2 rings as well. The Niners wouldn't have their 2 most recent NFC titles without the 2019 draft class. Just listen to this haul. Nick Bosa in the first round, Deebo Samuel in the second, and Dre Greenlaw in the 5th. San Fran even found stud punter Mitch Wishnowsky in the 4th. The 2 guys responsible for starting it all, 1979 third-round quarterback Joe Montana and 10th-round receiver Dwight Clark, who connected for the catch against the Cowboys in the '81 NFC Championship game. This moment in Niners history propelled them to their first Super Bowl, starting a run for the ages. Hall of Fame first-rounder Patrick Willis headlined San Fran's '07 draft class, which also included Joe Staley and Deshaun Goldson. Detroit built both sides of the ball in the 1951 draft class before winning 3 NFL titles that decade. As one of the first specialized safeties, Jack Christensen made a name for himself as a ball hawk, picking off 46 career passes, not bad for a 6th-rounder.
A bland pass intended for Hensley is pilfered by Jack Christensen.
No wonder Detroit won 3 titles, with this legend patrolling the defensive backfield. Hall of Fame guard Dick Stanfill was selected in the 2nd round and was named All-Pro 4 times in 7 career seasons. 5th-round end Jim Doran caught the game-winning touchdown in the 1953 championship game, and linebacker Laverne Torgerson was a key cog in the dynasty. If you're a Bucs fan, you probably saw this one coming. Tampa drafted 2 Hall of Fame defenders in '95 who may be the best 2 players in team history. It can't get better than that, right? Defensive tackle Warren Sapp wasn't even expected to be around by the 12th overall pick, but the Bucs swooped in, and the rest was history. 7 Pro Bowls, 96.5 career sacks, and the Defensive Player of the Year in 1999. Linebacker Derek Brooks won it 3 years later. He also ranks 6th all-time with over 1,700 career tackles. Brooks was named to 5 All-Pro teams and cemented the team's first ever Super Bowl win with this epic pick 6.
3rd and 18, and this is going to write a finish. Derek Brooks, who ran back 3 interceptions for touchdowns in the regular season, does it to cement the Super Bowl.
The Jaguars nabbed one of the best corners of the 21st century with the 5th pick in 2016. Jalen Ramsey has made the Pro Bowl in every season but his first, and in his 2nd year, Ramsey closed the door on the Bills in the wild card round, giving the Jags their first playoff win in 10 years.
Peterman from the gun. Here we go. Pass, tipped, and intercepted by Ramsey to close it out.
Miles Jack slipped to the second round, but Jacksonville was happy to take him at 36th overall. Jack has been a solid linebacker for 8 seasons and has registered 4 seasons of 100-plus tackles. Third-round pass rusher Yannick Ngakoue has notched 69 sacks in 8 seasons and made a Pro Bowl appearance in 2017, a season in which he led the league with 6 forced fumbles. And finally, Dallas laid the foundation for its 70s dominance in 1964. They found their franchise quarterback in the 10th round, Hall of Famer Roger Staubach. After serving in the Navy, the 6-time Pro Bowler helped Dallas reach the promised land in 1971, winning the first of 2 Super Bowls.
On 3rd and goal, Staubach. Touchdown, Mike Ditka.
Going deep. Oh, what a catch! It is a touchdown!
Second-round corner Mel Renfro led the league with 10 interceptions in 1969. The Hall of Famer compiled 52 in his career, making 10 Pro Bowls. Canton-bound speedster Bullet Bob Hayes led the league in receiving yards in his first 2 seasons. The 2-time All-Pro registered 76 scores over his great career. Lastly, in the 9th round, Dallas found Cooper Kupp's grandfather, Pro Bowl guard Jake Kupp, to solidify the greatest draft class in team history.